Hi, this is Mike Peterson from Challenge Island, Oakland County East, back with another one of our STEAM-tastic Fridays. Today we're going to start a new series of STEAM, so science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And our topic for the next few weeks is going to be basketball. So there's a lot of basketball going on right now in the United States, so we thought this would be a fun topic to dig into a little bit from a STEAM perspective. So for the science part of basketball, we're going to talk about the basketball. So there's actually a lot of science and even physics that goes into the basketball. So first, just a little bit of history. So basketball was invented back in 1891 by Dr. James Naismith. So he was a physical education instructor at a college in Springfield, Massachusetts, and was looking for something to do that people could do indoors. So one December, he decided to take a couple peach baskets, hang them up at two ends of a gym, and then try shooting balls in them to see if he could make a game out of it. Turns out it ended up being a pretty popular game once he got it going. So that's how it started. But when they first started using the balls, of course, they hadn't invented the basketball yet. They just invented the game. So most of the first basketballs were more like soccer balls because those were already available. However, when it came to the science of making a basketball work, those didn't work so good. So if you would compare a soccer ball to a basketball, you might notice that the soccer ball is a little smoother, where a basketball is kind of rough and your hand doesn't rub across it so good. That's on purpose. So when they started designing basketballs, they realized they needed a little more friction so that if someone wanted to catch the ball or dribble the ball or throw the ball or shoot it into the basket, you need to be able to hold on to it a little better. So what they did when they designed it is they created some little orange bumps all around the basketball to add some friction to it. So that was one important part where science helped out to make the basketball work better. Another piece that's important is the air that's inside it. So they needed to make it bouncy so that you could play the game well. So what they did is, so when you shoot this basketball, there's actually a lot of air inside here. And there's actually a rule for how much air is allowed to be in there. And the way we measure that is by using a measure called pounds per square inch. Or PSI is kind of what that stands for. So officially, to fill up a basketball with just the right amount of air, you want to have between 7.5 and 8.5 pounds per square inch. So you might wonder, well, what does that mean? Let me give you a little way to picture that. So let's say we had a square inch. This is about a square inch here. So what that would mean is if I push down with about 7 or 8 pounds, so for example, like a gallon of milk weighs about 8.5 pounds. So if I took a gallon of milk, put that on my square inch here, that's how much pressure is going on inside this basketball if I have it filled up just right. So the way you can test at home, if you have a basketball and would like to check it, what you can do is take your basketball, take it outside and out on the concrete or the driveway or the sidewalk, hold it out in front of you, try dropping it, drop it from about the height of your head. It should go down and bounce up to about the height of your waist. So if it bounces that high, you've got it filled up with about the right amount of air. Now if we put too much air in, it bounces too high, and that's not how it's supposed to work. So that kind of violates the rules of basketball. Or if it doesn't bounce high enough, then it's a lot harder to shoot and dribble the ball. So next time you're outside, check your basketball and see if you've got the right amount of pounds per square inch in it. So that's some of the science and the chemistry of how we make a basketball to make it work. The other thing I wanted to share quick was a little bit of the physics. So we'll talk a little bit about what we call projectile motion. So that's a big fancy word in physics that means we basically take a projectile, which is our basketball, and we move it. So when you shoot a basket, you're actually experimenting with projectile motion. So if you'd like to do some physics experiments outside, go play some basketball. So I'll give you one tip that might help you as you're trying to think, okay, how can I try things out? When we shoot a basketball, there's two things that we can control to get that basketball to go where we want it to. So there's the velocity and the angle. So the velocity is how hard we throw the ball. The angle is how high we throw it. So for example, if I throw it at an angle of 0 degrees, that basically means I'm rolling it across the ground. So that doesn't really count as throwing it. Or if I throw it at 90 degrees, that would mean I would throw it straight up in the air and it would just come right back down. So neither of those would work too good for shooting a ball and trying to make a basket. So I'll give you a little tip. If you want to shoot a basket or shoot a ball and make it go as far as possible before it hits the ground, the best angle to throw it at is what we call 45 degrees. So like I said, 0's right along the ground, 90's straight up in the air. So when you shoot it, shoot for right in between those. So you want it to be so it's going just as high as it's going sideways across the ground. So if you can get to shoot at 45 degrees, then it will go as far as possible. You'll have a better shot at making that basket. So if you go less than 45 degrees, the gravity's going to drag it down. It's not going to get as far. If you shoot more than 45 degrees, it'll go higher, but it's not going to go as far. It'll be more like going straight up, and it'll just kind of fall back down again. That won't go as far either. So 45 degrees is your best shot for making those baskets out there. All right, so if you get a chance to experiment with a little basketball this week, try bouncing it, see if it comes up to your waist so you know you got that pounds per square inch where it should be, and try shooting at that 45 degrees. See how far you can get that basketball to go. All right, with that, thank you so much for joining us this week, and we'll see you next time.